dissent. And there are pros and there are cons to the techniques that we're using, and I hope in the course of the day they're going to be, and the weekend they're going to be explored. But another thing that we're doing is we're having breakout sessions, and the technology is not going to be used in the breakout sessions. So people who are uncomfortable sharing ideas, and I know because I've had several extraordinarily interesting, in-depth, 1-hour-long telephone conversations with people who are participating about the technology and what it implies for them personally, for their organization or business, and for the concept of dialogue. So we're going to have breakout sessions where there is no technology, and where we hope that people who are uncomfortable in this electronic marketplace that we're trying to create will nonetheless feel comfortable there and participate. So the rule that's going to operate, and it's important that everybody understand it, in the breakout sessions, is the Chatham House rule. And that rule is essentially the rule that you can report what goes on, but you can't attribute to anybody who's there. So any of the ideas that are generated can be shared. But who generated the ideas cannot be shared unless you have the explicit written permission of the individual in question. And that's absolutely crucial, because if we don't do it, we can't create an environment where some people feel it's safe to communicate the kinds of ideas that they want to communicate. So we're using different methodologies, if you like, to use an academic terminology. We're using different approaches at different stages of the event. The other thing is that we're not going to have immediate report back from the breakout sessions. You're not going to come from a breakout session and then hear what everybody said in that breakout session. Rather, I've got 5 facilitators who are going to be facilitating, and I'm asking them, I want to meet them over lunch, by the way, because we haven't had a chance to sit down and talk. I want them to facilitate the sessions. I want a rapporteur, and the reports back will occur on Sunday morning. And that's our opportunity to reflect on what it is that's happened over the last 2 days. So Sunday morning is when you'll hear what's happened in those breakout sessions, what kinds of ideas develop, where people think we should be going, what the rapporteurs, their reflections on what's happened. And each of the rapporteurs is an individual who has been with this project from its beginning. We've gone through 3 phases. This is actually the 3rd. It might even be described as the 4th phase of this project, going back now 2.5 years that we've been working on. So all of the facilitators have been with it from the very beginning, and we want rapporteurs. We also want people to blog. I haven't actually identified anybody, but if a couple of people would like, when the blogging starts, to become bloggers, that's to say follow the discussions by making a commitment to put comments on engage in the blogging, then that would be terrific too. But we're going to have somebody monitoring, Maggie McIsaac, in fact, one of my staff, and I'll introduce you to her a little bit later, or you will be introduced to her a little bit later. Maggie is going to be moderating the blogs as they develop, and she's going to be writing what she thinks is going on, and other people can comment as they go. And if I understand it, Maggie will talk about it later. Those blogs are on the internet, so the public can participate. They can see what's going on. And all the people on our mailing list have been told we're doing this. We don't know how many will participate. There are some people who couldn't come. I think there's at least one person in Israel who will be particularly interested, because he suggested, amongst other things, that we do it. So we're engaged in an experiment. The agenda is a kind of interesting indication, and while I don't want to be too critical of my staff, they're a terrific group of people, the agenda is a kind of reflection on how people's minds are getting bent around what we're doing. The agenda is a little bit less clear than it should be. The idea is that the conversation starts at just, well, I suppose in a sense it started now. And Gisele is going to come up and talk about the hopes for the project on the part of the Social Science and Humanities Research Council in just a couple of minutes. But the idea is that the conversation will flow. The agenda is actually broken into 2 parts. It should just be a single part. The conversation is going to flow from now until 4 o'clock. And it's going to be broken, if you like, but not really broken by lunch. So we're going to move through, and we're not moving into workshops after lunch. As the agenda said, it's a bit confusing. Just think, take out the lunch part and think of that conversation continuing with an informal break for an hour and a half or 2 hours at 12 and 12:30, whatever. Then we're going to have, we're not going to have a nutrition break today, but we're going to move into our workshops, and this will be a chance for people to pick up in a more intimate environment the ideas that are being generated in these plenary sessions. So that's how the agenda is going to work, and that's what's intended. You can think of what's happening here as a kind of progressive disclosure case. Progressive disclosure experiment, because what's happening is that we're going to move in steps into more and more detailed analysis of what's going on in the network. So today this is our first opportunity as a group to get together and ask ourselves, what is it that we're trying to accomplish? We have created a document, I can tell you, with enormous effort, in which some of you participated. Some people were able to comment, some of you did. We got some good feedback, but we haven't been able to sit down and talk what we're doing. So the only text that you're really expected to be familiar with now is that document. If you don't have it, we want to get you a copy, or you can go to the web. It's on the website, so people can see what it is that we presented and our ideas. Go to the web or ask us for a hard copy. We'll get it for you. I want you to be familiar with that document because that's our game plan. That's our agenda there, and we're going to be talking about it. So tomorrow, we're going to talk about that game plan and what we've actually done today. We're going to talk about public dialogue, we're going to talk about capacity building, and we're going to talk about research. And we're going to talk about specific ideas that have been generated and what people are doing with them, and we're going to be talking about ideas that are just beginning to percolate. And you're going to make suggestions, maybe, I don't know, there are people here I know who have ideas, and if you want to, you can put them on the table. And that's the whole idea. And then we're going to break out in the last half of the afternoon. We'll break out and we'll discuss those ideas. Well, actually, I think we're going to break out in the morning as well. So we're going to have 2 breakout sessions tomorrow. 2 of my colleagues, Dirk Matt and Dirk. Dirk is here, I saw. Where's Dirk? Wave your hand. There he is, over there. Dirk is over there. And Andy Crane, where's Andy? Andy's over here, okay. 2 of them together, we're going to split you guys up pretty soon. Dirk and Andy have just our recent appointees to the Schuling faculty. Dirk is the corporate social responsibility, has the corporate social responsibility chair, newly created, the Hewlett-Packard corporate social responsibility chair at York University. And Andy Crane is the professor of business ethics. He has the business ethics chair. They've been with us a relatively short period of time. But I've asked them to participate and to reflect. And at the end of our event on Sunday, they're going to reflect on what's happened over the 3 days. And they're going to reflect from a certain position of detachment because they haven't yet been totally integrated into the culture, if you like, Canadian academic culture. So I'm hoping that they can give both an attached and an unattached perspective on what it is that's going on, an international perspective and a national perspective. Because one of the things that we're trying to do is to reach out, to create a tool that allows Canadians to reach out into the broader international community. So I've asked them to do that, and you'll see them wandering around. That doesn't mean that you should be guarded, and they're also going to be in the various breakout sessions. But that's going to be their task at the very end. And at the very, very end, somebody started talking about canoeing, a very, very Canadian activity. And if I have the nerve and the energy, I'm going to generate a canoeing metaphor for you. Or close the event. That's what we're up to. I think I've covered everything that I wanted to cover in this, except to say once again,